Hello all. Today what I'm going to do is show you the Reflex shelter in a setup for cold weather. This here, I'm going to be setting up the shelter, putting a long fire in front, as well as putting a raised bed inside the shelter. So I have my ridge line here, and I have two Presic loops on this ridge line. We're going to open up my shelter. There we go, right here. This is one side right here. So I know that I have to put this top spot here across my ridge line. How I'm going to do that is I'm just going to take my loop, put it through the tie out, and put a stick. This tree off to the side here is in the way a little bit, but you don't always get perfect. So I'm not going to worry about it and just show you how it's set up this way here. So this is very simple and very fast to set up. Two Presic knots at the top. I have loops on my stakes, so I just put it through like I did the Presic knots and put a toggle, I put a stick. Now this is set up on the sides here. I didn't put a stake, which you can, but I just fold it under and put a log. Sometimes you can't drive a stake in the ground, so sometimes you may have to weight it down with rocks or with sticks and such. That's the reality. If you're on ice and such, you're not going to drive a stake in, so you weight it down. You can make snow anchors and so on. Now I'm going to make a raised bed in here. I've got this dead wood that I'm going to throw down as a base. Now you want 6 inches to a foot compressed bedding underneath you, so it will stop conduction from the ground. So as you see on the sides over here, I've got a couple sticks in there. I made sure there wasn't anything that is going to puncture that when I set those in, because all thin material like this, you have to watch out for punctures, of course. But I'm going to make my bed right here, and then I'm going to finish it off with brush. But I will start with dead logs and such. It already gets me up off the ground and saves on a lot of brush. You have to always adapt to your location. You may not have all brush or all leaves, so you adapt and use various materials to make your bed. When I make a brush bed, I always make sure that my branches are always going from head to foot. You put them crossways like this, you're going to feel it. You can do that at your foot or your head end only. If you put one sideways like this, across this way, you're going to feel it. So always make sure that they're always running this way, the same direction your head and feet's going to go, and alternate them because you want this to be flat all the way across. Not a hump in the middle, not a hump in the ends. So this here is a quick makeshift bed. I do have a tie out where I can tie this out up if I wanted to. It doesn't bother me if it hangs down a little bit. But yeah, this here is enough that I'm up off the ground. It's quick. Next is a long fire. Right now it's minus 10 Celsius. Going to light the fire out in front of the shelter, and we'll see how warm it gets on the bed inside the shelter. So this fire here's only about 2 feet, a little bit more. So I'm going to light that up in a couple places and then let it start climbing up through. Okay, got that lit. Make sure that it's going to go in underneath the brush. Right there. Got another spot over here I'm going to light it. I've got fire starting blocks. And if you notice, I've also made sure that my fire is on a good fire lay. Now we'll just let that, I've got fire here, one other spot over here that I can light. This is just a small piece of fire starter. And this is frozen damp wood as well. So we'll just let her go up through. So that, if you notice, we've got about maybe 14, 16 inches of fire right now. Doesn't have to be a huge fire. I'd probably let that burn down, and once you get coals it works better, and when you get the whole length. But right now I'm going to bring that up, and we've already rose 10 Celsius. So I'm going to grab it from up top here by the string, so you know I'm not anywhere near the bottom, so I'm not raising it myself. I'll bring that up. You can see that right there, 0 degrees. Right now, it is plus 10 in here. 10 Celsius, which is almost 50 Fahrenheit. Now I am dressed for minus 10 while I'm walking around. So my clothing is my first form of shelter. This here is now burnt down. It's been going for about maybe half an hour, 20 minutes. But it's good now if I maintain that. Now if it was any colder, I could also make it longer, but it doesn't have to be any bigger. Just make it longer. That's going to heat me from head to toe. It's plus 10 like I mentioned. Celsius, 50 Fahrenheit. And there's the fire right there. And that's my view. I'm laying on the bed right now. That's not a huge fire. If it was colder weather, then I would make a longer fire. But that feels toasty in here, especially where I'm already dressed for cold weather. So that there is just a quick test on how the Reflex shelter works. It's also a little windy out here. I don't feel any of it unless the wind would change and blows in here. That's the only way I'm going to actually feel wind, is from the front. I find that a lean-to shelter is one of the best shelters. There's many out there, but it provides a wide open space from head to toe that you can put a fire, long fire, from head to toe to heat you. So you can get down very, very low temperatures in a lean-to. So this is nice and toasty. This here with the reflective, it's coming right up here and coming down. I did notice there are a couple burn marks, but sil nylon, all these thin types tarps, you don't want to use with a fire because you can burn pinholes. But this would save your life if it was cold and it was a survival situation. So just for camping, you're going to risk putting holes in it if you use it with a fire just for camping. Usually, I don't use a fire around sil nylon or these type of shelters just because of pinholes. It's just the nature of the beast. But these little pinholes are not going to make a difference if it's minus 30 and I'm lost and I need a shelter to stay warm. These little pinholes are not going to make a difference, but that fire is, and this tarp is, it can save my life. Thanks for watching. Take care, and all the best. I love that smoke, no matter where I go. It's right in the view of the camera and myself. Once again, nature of the beast.